Hello, everybody. I'm your host, Gabe Colombo, and this is another episode of Why Don't I Hate Mondays? As you might know, on this weekly episode released every Monday, I'm going to share with you some of the best things I can find online and some things that I've learned during my career. I've been around for almost 20 years and I'm still learning. I learn every single day. And I just want to share some of those things that I've learned with you. Um, and this episode is focused on something that I think it's extremely important, and it is turnover. Turnover is just a pain. It's problematic, and it's endemic. It will always be endemic. So for this episode, I tried something different. I released a poll on LinkedIn asking people what do they think would be better to avoid turnover. And the options were better culture and purpose, transparency, freedom for decision making, and better compensation. So those were the four options that I gave people. Um, so the results, of course, it's something extremely obvious, but I would love to share it with you. So 56% of people said that a strong culture and purpose would avoid turnover. Then the second one with 22% is freedom for decision making. And then as a tie, better compensation and transparency with 11% each. This is something that, of course, we all know that a good culture, a strong culture with real value proposition, with real purpose for people, it make them stay. Because I think we have three different kinds of compensation. The first one is monetary, is money in your pocket. We all know that that's extremely important. The second one is recognition. You need to feel like you've been recognized for the things you're doing, for the things that you're learning. It's extremely important, not only to validate, but to reinforce to people that we are actually looking and we are actually seeing that they are learning things. We are all learning things. We need to learn things in order to keep growing and to get better results and to improve human connection. Again, this is all about human connection. Um, and the third one, which is the one that I like the most, even though I really like money, is the spiritual compensation. The main reason why you wake up in the morning. And if you wake up in the morning feeling happy that you're gonna go to work or gonna sit in your chair in your office and work, um, because you're gonna spend 8 to 10 hours with your team or doing this thing that you do, and extremely important that you feel like you're part of something. um, I don't know if you noticed, but some of the episodes that we have, I actually recorded them here in my workstation, and I have a letter here. This letter is from a team that I managed back in the days, like 4 or 5 years ago, and they left me a lot of beautiful small messages um, of appreciation. It was just before I came to live in Spain. I was living three teams back in Brazil, and I remember that when I read it the first time, some of the messages that really got to my heart, they were based on things that are mine, on my personal life. That I try to be as charismatic, as empathetic as I can. I try to be a nice person. If you ever met me, you know that I try to be as nice as I can, as clear as I can. And as I mentioned 2 episodes ago on diversity and revenue, when you feel like you can be yourself and that you're part of something important, you end up sweating. It's physical, sweating the company values, sweating the value proposition. Um, and as you might know, I work with marketing and advertising, and I've been doing that for a long time now. The better results that I got in my career, they were a product of a lot of motivation. But motivation was basically giving the teams enough information, enough context, and a clear path to the company values and to where we would have to go, we would want to go. And with that, I don't even remember how many results we achieved and overcame during those years. But I always remember something, how people felt like they belonged. That's to me the most important thing, because that was the proof that I was actually making human connection to happen. Um, so when you get a result in a pool like that, um, that a better culture and purpose is something that keep people like in-house in your company. Um, I can't stop wondering, why wouldn't a company have a good culture and a good purpose? And during my wonders, I I got to the point where I recognized that some companies are not good at communicating. So they're not good at communicating. Maybe they are amazing companies, but they are not communicating well. Maybe you have an amazing leader who knows amazing things, but this leader doesn't have this skill to communicate well. And with that, as this is, if your direct report is a leader that cannot communicate well, you're not going to feel like you have enough context to do better things or in a better way. And that, of course, it's a pain for your productivity and for your results, and then the company results. So every time I think about how we are managing culture, not as a movement, but as something that you need to actually sweat. You need to wake up in the morning and feel like you're doing something that has a good value proposition, and that is actually helping someone or is doing something good for society. At least this is the way I decided to live my life. Every day I wake up and I know that I'm doing something um, as paid forward, to give something back to society. And this is how I actually lead Traktor and some of the companies that I mentor and help. Um, but I can I don't want to lose focus here. Um, So a better culture and a purpose is the main tool to avoid turnover. But you already had that person in your team. This person decided to leave to another company that they don't really know what are the company values and the actual purpose, because you get to know that after a while. So it's not that the person went to a different company, it's that you lost that person. Um, and people say that people don't leave jobs, people leave leaders. So why are we not managing to keep good people in our teams? Like, what's missing? What I think is missing is communication. I think transparency. I think there's a lot of people, and there are a lot of companies who have amazing values and are doing amazing things, but are not actually good at communicating. And I always say that communication is also calibration. If you need to over explain something to an employee about what the company does, or what are the company values, they are not clear enough. for everybody to understand. So we need to make it as clear as we can. And now that we see that transparency, that good communication, that if they have enough context, if they have enough autonomy, everybody who has enough resources, which I mean good compensation or fair compensation. So resources, intelligence, will, are working through good values with a great value proposition, that person is not going to leave your company. That person is not going to leave a leader. That person is going to be an advocate for your company, for your brand. And that's going to make you not grow. Like growth is just a collateral of all of those things, but you're going to have a happy employee doing something the best way this person can do and sweating your company values. So why don't we do that? Why don't we try doing that? This is something that I actually do at Traktor with some of my colleagues. I always ask them how they're feeling about our values, and not only repeating, like where in your heart is actually Traktor. What do you think about the company? Is this company a company that you would not only recommend to another person, but to yourself if you had the chance? And every time I have an answer, I think about that answer. I empathize with that answer, with that person. And that is making the difference in my daily routine, in my life, and Traktor's life. So maybe that's my tip. Listen to people, understand yourself. If you're the founder, if you're the owner, if you're a two people company, still values need to be there, and values are going to end up being a good culture. And a good culture is now everybody working with the main focus on helping the company not only to grow, but to grow sustainably, to spread the values, to make the world a better place, and with that, to achieve better results. So today I'm leaving you guys and girls a lot of questions, because turnover is about the reason of turnover is actually something that's very particular to each company. So I'm not going to give you an answer because I don't have that answer. I would love to have that answer. And that's why I decided to go with the pool, because some of the people that answered, that responded to that pool, work within HR, in tech companies, in internet companies all around the globe. And with that, we have an indicator. And when you say that 56% of people said that a better culture and purpose is the main tool to avoid turnover. So again, why would someone leave if a good culture and a good purpose is out there, with crystal clear communication and people who actually are engaged to your value proposition? So ask yourself, is it happening in my company? If this is happening, what's missing? What am I not seeing? And look for actual data from the market within your industry. Which number is acceptable? A turnover number, of course. Which turnover rate is acceptable? And I would love to know know a little bit more about your industries. Why don't you leave it in the comments below, the average turnover rate for your industry, and then we can talk a little bit more about that in the near future, maybe. Okay. So this was this episode of Why Don't I Hate Mondays. I hope you enjoyed it. Again, if you can like, share, comment, always be nice, always be polite. but everything, all comments are well accepted. Criticism and suggestions are also accepted and appreciated. I'll see you next Monday. I hope you have a great week. Bye bye.